everybody, to a new edition of UFO Man Live. I'm Tim, or UFO Man, and my co-host, as you well know, is Tom Reed from the Berkshire's UFO Inc.
Guys.
Tonight we have a very special guest. Her name is Kim Carlsberg. We finally figured out what was going on with the computer and got it up and running. So,
within a second, right?
Yeah, we were like a second or two late, so we apologize for that. I want to wish everyone an early happy Halloween from everybody on the panel, and Tom and I have a Halloween message. Here it is. Kim, you're muted. Your mic is muted.
Yeah, can you hear me, Tim?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. So
I can hear both of you just fine.
There you go. We got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Tonight we're going to be talking about something that is not talked about too often. We do talk about alien abduction on this channel quite a bit, but we're also going to be talking about a hybridization program that seems to be occurring worldwide. And Kim is a participant in that program. So please welcome Kim Carlsberg to the channel. Kim?
Hi, I've never heard anybody word it like that. I'm a participant in the program.
Well, maybe an unwilling participant, but nonetheless
There you
a
go.
participant.
I'm having trouble hearing you, Tom, but I want to just get this out because there you're better. You know, I've been talking about my life and the things I've learned, other people's lives for at least 30 years. My first abductions were in the 80s, and I started keeping track of them, you know, keeping a diary in 1988, I believe. And so I don't know where the word experiencer came from. It's really offensive to me. So please don't call me an experiencer. Who made up that word? I mean, that had to do with abduction, because we're all experiencers. We experience life every day. But it doesn't say what alien abduction is. It's not experiencing, it's being abducted. So I've always disclaim that word when it comes to my history. I'm an abductee, an alien or ET abductee, and Black Ops abductee, but I'm not an experiencer. So, on with the show.
Right. Okay. Can you also tell us a little bit about yourself so the people in our chat room know a little bit more about you?
Okay. I was, boy, too bad you can't just run that little video. Can you run that video?
Sure, I can run that video.
Yeah, that's sure.
Okay, here we go.
Just a typical Midwestern family, Christian upbringing. I went to a Baptist church. I was in the middle of two brothers. I have a brother who's 7 years older and a brother who's 7 years younger. And my mom used to call us for 7-year itch. And my mother was a hairstylist, and my father was an entrepreneur. And I, you know, went to school, normal school, public school, graduated from high school, and came to California. I woke up, and I was not in my bed any longer. I was standing in what I thought was an elevator. I was paralyzed. I had no idea how I could have been taken from my bed in the middle of the night and not known it, and just appeared in this elevator, but that was the case. I was pushed into a room that I describe as a large hospital ward. There were tiny little tables about 1.5 feet tall all through this hospital ward, and there were unconscious human beings laying on all of these tables, and there were these little short, off-white beings, naked guys with big black eyes, doing things to these people on these tables. I was taken into a small room and I was presented a little girl about 2 years old. And she was beautiful. She was very human looking. She had big blue eyes and long blonde hair, but she lacked emotion. And they presented this child to me and they said to me, "Isn't she a beautiful baby?" And telepathically they were communicating to me that it was my child. And I was absolutely in shock. I'm in this room and I'm seeing this 2-year-old little girl and they're telling me it's mine. And I'm saying, "You're crazy. This isn't mine. It can't be mine. I don't know what you're talking about. Leave me alone. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to participate in this." I hate that idea that I'm a messenger, you know. I'm just a normal person who happens to know too much. I know too much. I've seen the future. I've seen the world from another perspective. And I can just talk about it. If that makes me a messenger, maybe I'm a messenger. I don't know. But that message is out there, you know. It's like how many times can we be told something? Apparently not enough. I came home, went to bed. I woke up and I was not in my bed any longer. I was standing in what I thought was an elevator. I was paralyzed, and there were these little short off-white beings, naked guys with big black eyes, doing things to these people on these tables. And I didn't know if I was going to live through the night. I really thought that these people might be dead, and I thought that I was going to be next. So I started screaming, and a taller alien that looked just like these guys walked up behind me and slapped me on the back of the neck, and I started to pass out. Next thing I knew, I woke up. I was in a smaller room by myself on a table, and you know, I'm completely disoriented. I don't know where I am. I don't know what's happening to me. I had an experience where they put a metal rod to my tailbone, and they take skin samples. I had something shoved up my nose. I felt this drug feeling come over my body, and I knew that I was going to be unconscious within a matter of seconds, and there wasn't anything that I could do about it. And I woke up back in my bed, and at that point, you know, I thought that I had completely lost my mind. I knew I wasn't hallucinating, but it was the only logical explanation. I had a very vivid experience of having a fetus put into my body and removed. It's ridiculously hard for me to talk about. I know how crazy it sounds for a woman to say she's been implanted with an alien fetus. I'm an intelligent woman. I'm highly educated. I know how the world perceives it, but I'm sorry, it's the truth.
Wow, I haven't seen that in a while.
Thought I'd bring that up.
My goodness. What a reminder. Yeah, so you said that you want me to tell people about myself. I think that just did.
Well, there's a couple of things you actually said that resonate with me. You know, the bump to the head. I mean, I've always talked about the hits to my head. You know, I think I've mentioned on this show several times. You know, there are a couple of things that resonated. But would you say that it was terrifying for you, or do you think that you learned something from it, or you're just part of something, or how would you?
I was terrified for 8 years, and then it continued, but I have 8 years documented. They came for me 2 and 3 times a week, and I have an abundance of hybrid children. I'm a hybrid grandmother now, and it was never good. So, you know, I've taken a lot of heat for saying that, because it's not like, I don't know, most people in the field that talk about it say, "Oh, it was great. They came to teach us all this stuff," and but they haven't saved the planet. What have they done really that we know of? They've taken my eggs. I know that much, and they never asked to. And when we wake up and you're strapped to a table on a spaceship, and they don't communicate with you, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. And as far as if they taught me anything, well, yeah, by default, I don't think they ever made an effort to teach me anything other than you guys are destroying the planet and you've got to stop doing that. That was really hit home. But teaching, I don't know. I think I'm just bitter after all these years. They really took at least 8 years of my life. And when I tried to get them to stop, it was tricky, but I found a way to make them stop after
Were they always when you were home, you were sleeping? Was it always that type of thing, or were you ever conscious and you saw this actually? I mean, you said it went on for a while. I've known you. We've met
yeah,
before. You know?
yeah. We've met
Uh,
before.
yeah, we've been around. We did a show together, I think, 15 years ago or something. And that
Yeah.
was really. I saw you in Colorado recently. Do you think that the majority of what happened later on, that there was this all knowing between you and whatever was happening? And do you think it was the same group, and now you kind of become part of something? So was it now you were awake and you saw them coming, or was it always you'd wake up and you'd be there? I mean, I would imagine that. I think you lived in Malibu at one point. Wasn't
Yeah.
Did you actually see this starting to take place ahead of time, or was it always just instantaneous kind of thing, and you wake up and here you are?
Oh, I've had hundreds of abductions, and I never say that because it's so hard to believe.
Hmm.
But it changed over time because
Yeah.
I changed over time. And when it was and I had female problems my entire life because, they were using me as a breeding dog, basically. And, I went through all these surgeries and I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I don't deserve this. I want it to stop. You tell me what's going on or you make it stop or I'm going to make it stop.
Right.
And it got to the point where they knew they couldn't knock me out anymore. I made this promise to myself that when I was on the table on the ship, that they use post hypnotic suggestion and drugs and everything so you won't remember. So I would get home and I would have scars and I'd be sick and pregnancy. I could feel it. So I just said I can't take it anymore. When I get on off this table, when I put my feet on the floor, I am going to remember. And it was just self hypnosis. And after a while, it worked. It was one day, you know, long story. But I woke up the next morning and I put my feet on the floor and I just remembered everything that happened that night. That didn't stop them. They kept trying and it continued for years, but they knew I knew. And it shifted the whole power part of it all.
Okay. So my question then. So over the years, when you were on board or wherever it was that you were,
Yeah.
there was this ongoing conversation now, right? There was this telepathic type of thing. You'd hold your child, they'd give you the baby to hold, and on board there was this. You were yourself. You weren't really drugged at the time. When you're on a when you were there, you were what seemed to be
Well,
conscious and
yeah.
in control of yourself. Correct. So
Yeah, that brings up, I'm sorry,
no,
that
go
brings
ahead.
up something really important. When I first started talking about this, people would say, well, were you awake? Were you drugged? And I finally realized that they're interdimensional beings. And when we're taken, people from Earth and this 3D reality are taken into another dimension. It's foggy, it's different, it's wild, it's bizarre. I was conscious, but I was in another dimension and I knew it. So I got to the point where when these experiences happened, I became more and more conscious and more at home in that dimension or those dimensions as time went on. I got used to it.
So what happened to us? You had said something too, that in the clip anyway, that you felt like you were kind of like drugged to some
Yeah,
degree. You knew you were
yeah,
going under. That's
yeah.
something that happened to my brother and I, because we all came out of it within like a couple of minutes of each other. We all felt like a sodium pentothal, almost like we went out. But we've also always said that we were there was a very human element to it, and that this was not. I guess in some respects, what a lot of other people will discuss or feel that happened to them. there was definitely military involved in our incident in 1969. And that's kind of where I was asking you. Do you think that where you were in this interaction that you had was strictly, off-world, or do you think that there was also a human presence?
Oh, definitely a human
Yeah.
presence. As a
Mhm.
matter of fact, in my case, if I had an alien abduction, I knew the next night that our wonderful Black Ops military would be after me. And every time I was abducted by the ETs, they wanted to know. And so they would have, the Black Ops have the same powers, which is crazy and frightening. But I saw Black Ops walk through walls, and I've got a million experiences, but one where this human, I assumed to be human, Black Ops guy, came into my bedroom, and I was on my back on my bed, and he just threw his body on top of mine and held me down by the arms. And then the next thing I know, I'm being transported. He drugged me, and I was being transported to wherever they used to take me.
Now you were probably you were dating at the time, right, Chad? That you were. This is about the time that you started working on Baywatch, correct?
That's right. Yep.
Okay, so you were living with someone. You had a boyfriend at the time, right?
No, Greg and I, you know, created Baywatch, and
Uh,
we worked
but
together.
did he ever see anything like this? Was he around when this took place? Was he part of it in any way?
No, no, no. I did see. I saw him one time on a craft, and he walked by me. As a matter of fact, I think I've seen all my boyfriends on a craft, briefly. But this is kind of a personal thing to say, but he he wasn't able to have kids, right? And this whole program was about, you know, creating hybrid children.
Hmm.
And so they took him on the craft one time. I saw him walking down the aisle, and I could hear his telepathic thoughts saying, you know, this is horrible.
And you could
So
hear Greg's
what's
voice
that?
telepathically when you were on board or wherever it was you were.
Yeah, I heard something coming from him while he was walking down this hallway, and he was really pissed at me.
No, I get it.
And I could, yeah,
So, do you think that when you were there, that there was something that heightened the neurons, if you will, in the brain to uh, be able to strengthen those thought waves, so that everybody where you were able to speak or communicate telepathically? Think that was something in the air, if you will.
I do. I think because I used to be taken from one room to another. I mean, like one abduction was this huge auditorium, and I was taken out into a hallway with different ETs and humans, and I was automatically, when I went through that door, I was knocked out completely, and then I would come back into consciousness in the next room they were taking me to. So I always assume that they have a way of, adjusting rooms
That's
or,
really interesting because I got a point here, and I've never really talked about this. I have on a show maybe once or twice, but there was okay. So I was somebody came to my house and had a game though. They took this big board and it was like an air hockey game. It blew air out the bottom of it, and they dropped a ping pong ball on it, put a headset on my head, and asked if I could move the ball around. And because I remember some telepathic communication, that kind of thing too, but it's just like
yeah,
we're going down to some degree at certain times, and all the times you were able to access this. And so
yeah,
they increased I guess the electricity, if you will, or whatever it was that stimulated my brain. And before the end of the day, I could move this ping pong ball all over this like air hockey table. And so and then when I had my experience, I remember sometimes coming out of it and feeling nervous, feeling scared, and other times I just cooperated. It was almost like what I was almost at one point or another being able to be controlled, and other times I would come out of it on my own, and there'd be this almost this fresh, okay, I'm back, and the next thing you know, you're cooperating and you're doing things you wouldn't normally do through some type of control
Yeah.
through the mind. Yeah.
Yep. They had a lot of
Yeah.
control.
Think some of these resonate with you, or
Um, yeah, I've been in every state of consciousness and physicalness that you can imagine with these guys. Um, the, and, I always give them a bad rap because they deserve a bad rap. They destroyed my life. At the same time, there were slivers of experiences where I felt more love than I've ever felt on this planet. And I think people say that the Greys don't have emotion. Well, that's nonsense. They have, I've experienced every kind of emotion from them. And, and it got to the point where when I got these, bursts of love, I thought, you know what, maybe they just keep their emotions to their
do
chest
you think
because
those bursts of love were just sent through your mind by the way that they were able to communicate with you, maybe project a feeling, or do you feel it was legit?
oh, there were, yeah, I think it was legit. There may have been a few times where it wasn't, but the first time it happened, I was in bed and there were four grays in the room, two at my head and two at my feet, and they started to pick me up, and I went no. I put my hand that because the grays sometimes they'll get real close, up and personal. And actually, my skin, this gray's skin was touching my skin. And I said no, and I went to push him away, and my thumb slipped into his mouth. And it was wet and warm, and I felt the hard palate at the top, just like a human mouth. And before that realization was totally solid, I had had these feelings of, oh God, no, you're here again, and they're coming, and oh, I just can't go through this again, and I hate you guys, and then this gray uh, was like saying the same thing back to me. And I'm like, how can you be mad at me? I haven't done anything, And it was almost just a few seconds later, all that energy shifted from them coming to get me to I was just drenched in this love from that gray and I think it was that physical contact that broke open something in
You know,
both
a
of
lot
our
of people will say that grays are robotic or uncanny valley, or they're not.
Oh, I'm so tired of hearing that.
You've heard that too, and so would you say that when you touch the skin too, you felt it was alive? That you felt that
Yes,
warmth?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Okay.
And that physical contact at the same time, that's pretty intimate when you've got your thumb in somebody's mouth. Um, Really opened up that gray's consciousness at that moment, and of course that affected me because I'm right there with him.
So again,
Boy.
have you ever seen this coming before you went to bed, or is it all basically after you had turned in for the evening, or
Yeah, it was almost always after I had gone to bed and
okay,
was trying to go to sleep. But after so many years of being abducted, I realized that's what was happening, and I just made myself stay awake for 8 years. So I knew they were going to come, and I would watch TV or do whatever. And then when the sun came up, I knew I was safe, and that's when I would get a little bit of sleep.
how tall would you say? A lot of people say, oh, they're 4.5 feet tall, what have you. Do you find that they were pretty much all the same height type of thing, or is there anything variance or anything that you could say to people that I know there's a lot of people in chat right now that are really interested in what you have to say and give
You,
reason.
you know, I experienced 7 or 8 different ET groups, and the first ones that took me were were the small grays. I'm not going to say small. They were about my height, But when I got to the place that they were taking me, there would always be the smaller grays. They were like the little worker bees, 3.5 foot tall. And and I had an experience with them. Oh my God. Now all these experiences are flooding back. I thought I'd left this alone for a while. But there was one experience where I I was conscious for some reason. And I'm in this big room, and all these little grays are like little kids running around, and a lot of joy and happiness. And, I was like, wait a minute. And I didn't know, I was just stupid. I was so stupid that I said, take me to your leader.
Well,
And they did. And they did. And they took me to this huge door and pushed me through. And I didn't know it had happened until I was pushed back from the opposite direction and something had happened and I knew it, but I couldn't bring it to my
you were
recall.
forcefully moved,
Um,
pushed.
I I don't know that I was
Or
forcefully
did it
moved
feel that way?
because I wanted to meet the leader.
Yeah.
Right.
I meant that
Your
literally.
arm, and it actually hurt. So I remember being grabbed, and I also remember almost 99% of everything that took place was always on my left side, which is weird, but it's just something I remember. And
Do you know if you have some kind of implant on your left side anywhere?
I'll get marks on my body.
I used to.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I got another question too, because you said this is always at night when you're sleeping. It's not like you see something before it happens. You can kind of get an idea. You feel,
Oh,
you sense something, but you probably took naps now. Did anything ever happen like during the day when you were sleeping?
no, I was never a nap taker.
Always
I
night.
was I worked 24/7. I was, on the set of Baywatch. I
Yeah.
mean, I had no time to do anything but try to survive. And but it didn't matter where I was, as long as I was asleep. I had experiences all over the place, in New Mexico and all over California. Every time I moved, they knew
Mhm.
where I moved. So they would be there waiting. Um, yeah,
So you have six hybrid children. Is
I
that right?
probably have
Is that
a lot more than that. Those are the ones that I've met.
and
And
grandchildren?
Okay, we have a question from the chat room from Elizabeth Michael from
okay,
Roswell. She wants to know, I'm curious about the children. Do they age like us?
I do not know. I wish I knew. They do age, but who knows? I had an experience where they took me back through time with my daughter April, my first hybrid child, and they took me back to see the experiences I had with her that they had blocked throughout her whole life. Because I guess at that point they figured, well, I'm old enough now. I know what's going on. I may as well deserve to experience those, playing games and the stuff that we did that I
So
didn't
I can
remember.
follow up with this. You had said that your first experience that you remember was in 1988. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and
But after 88, after, I started realizing what was happening, I started remembering other things as well
right.
that
So,
happened early on.
okay, because 1988 was when you first remembered it, not when it first took place, because you had a child that was already 2 years old or something, right?
I
That,
that Oh yeah.
okay.
Well, gosh, I don't know the years. But
What my point is now that your hybrid children now, have you seen them recently? So are they fully grown, or how would
okay.
you?
So April, my first daughter, is probably in her 30s in human years by now,
Yeah.
and I was shown her at 2 years old, and I watched her grow up, and they did, allow me to be with her, and she was so emotional. So she's a hybrid for sure, but she's seems to be a lot more human in that respect. My other hybrid children, the first time I met uh, April, they brought me into a room with I'm with two little grays beside me. I walk into this room, and it's just a big round empty room, and there's a door on the other side, and through that door comes a hybrid nurse, mother, whatever, with these little kids, these two little kids, two boys and a girl, and they asked me, they just said, try to connect. And I couldn't connect with these kids because they were too alien for me at that time. But then there was a time, many times after that, I was able to connect with them and have conversations and, participate in their lives.
So what about grandchildren? I mean, your children had children.
Of course. Yep. And I wouldn't have known that had I not moved to Sedona, Arizona, because I moved there and I opened a UFO tour company, and I had night vision goggles, and it's a portal. It's such a portal, and it's open to anyone. But like living here in the Midwest where I am now, I haven't had much contact. I get a little bit of telepathic communication, but when you live in a portal, I mean, they used to come in and out of my living room, my hybrid kids, and I had physical experiences.
Have you ever seen your children's spouse, if you will, because they had children? Have you ever been allowed to see their other half, if you will?
No, because I don't think there is another half. I think that other half is parts of a lot of other beings. You know what I mean?
Artificially,
yeah,
like you were.
Yes.
See, what I was wondering is if maybe perhaps for them to be related to you, it almost seems like your hybrid children, the first 6, had to have encountered some type of congress with another hybrid to allow them to have the same type of children. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the same, would it?
I'm not sure of that question. So you're asking if they had to have some kind of DNA that was the same?
Right.
Yeah.
Like
for them to be related to you, otherwise they wouldn't be grandchildren.
Like a mule.
They'd be like stepchildren. That's why I was asking.
Oh well, yeah, they were definitely my grandkids. I met, let's see, 1, 2, 3 or 4 one night, and they were in. Oh, this is crazy! I knew their names, even though this was the first time I had a conscious interaction with them, and I wasn't getting it telepathically at that moment, but I knew what their names were, and they were all English. Okay, so I haven't spent a lot of time in England. I've been there a few times, but I don't know the lingo. But so the little boy, my grandson, his name was Willem. I don't know how I knew it, and I didn't know anything about it.
William?
Willem. And
Nice.
I guess that it was supposed to be English for William. And a lot of weird things like that with England. So there was definitely an English connection. There's a lot.
Know the names of the other ones, or your children?
Well, my daughter is April, and I remember Willem because that was so odd. Yeah, the other kids, if you put me under hypnosis, I'm sure I'd remember them, but it's been so many years. But yeah, they
do you remember?
English.
Do you remember how many girls that you had?
I had about, let me see, I had 3 sons that I know of. I think it was about the same, 3 and 3, 3 daughters.
When you see them later on, is there any apparel? Are they wearing anything, or how do you, when you hold them, or because I understand from a lot of people that there is a need to interact and touch and hold and
Sure.
do they call you mom? Do they know who you are?
Yes, they know who I am.
They ever call you mother, mom, or
Mm,
you ever heard that?
yeah, my first
Yeah.
daughter, April, called me
Okay.
mom.
So the
And
most of the interaction you've had and connected with is April.
yes, for sure.
When
And
was the
then
last car?
too long. It was in Sedona, and I've been back here 6 years.
Oh, it's a
S-
while.
Yeah. So I wish I could see her again, but she does speak to me telepathically, just checking up on mom every once in a while. And then the other one that I have the most contact with, his name was Qual. I'm not sure if he's even around anymore because I said, "What do you do out there?" And he goes, "Well," he goes, "We keep an eye on Earth." And he said, "And I'm behind. Um, oh gosh, what's the constellation with the belt, Orion's belt?" And he
Orion's belt.
said,
Yeah.
"Yeah," and he said, I stay in Orion's belt, and um, because I asked him a specific question, and I said, "So then where are you? What are you doing? Are you on a craft? You have to be on a craft if you're not going to be settled in Orion." And he said, "Mom," God, he had such a great sense of humor. He goes, "I have a fleet, not a craft." And he said, "And we're all together here." And when his energy would come to me, it was just so strong and so funny. But he said that he had a daughter, wanted to have a family, couldn't have a family of his own, so they tried to create a hybrid daughter for him, but she didn't make it. So he said he stopped at that point.
Okay, I have a question for you. We got a question from the chat room that says, "How can you tell which hybrid children are yours versus just another hybrid child?"
Well, my hybrid daughter April she was a clone of me. I mean, you could just tell in a moment she was my daughter. And because we all are telepathic, you've also got that connection. So there was never a question in my mind. I know who my kids
So
are.
when you do see your daughter, is she dressed?
Yeah, she.
What?
Yeah, it's funny because you don't really focus on that. There's so
Yeah.
much going on that's so intense in your mind. It's like what they're wearing. Oh, I don't know. I think
I'm
I
just
saw
curious. I
her.
know people that are probably interested in that. What they when you see them, are they buff? Are they being a hybrid, pretty much 50-50 human and and what
No,
do you think
uh,
the other part is, or what do you think the other side of them is? Do you think it's multiple, species, or it's so she's a clone of you though? So basically,
yeah.
she's
But I said
for the most part
she's all.
very human looking.
Yes, if she put on a little weight and got a little bit of a suntan, she could be here.
Yeah.
Um, Otherwise, they all have. And when you say it pretty much 50-50, I have seen from 2% human and 98%
Oh
ET.
no, I was referring to yours because you said she's a clone of you.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
right. So
She looked exactly like me, except she was a little bit thinner and a little bit paler, and she was a
well,
lot smarter, or she is a lot
no,
smarter. Yeah, she's a smart one, that girl.
yeah, the good question. Aren't we all hybrids though? Actually, I do believe that we're not basically from here anyway. We're all alien. This planet's been extinct like 6 times, and we got 8 million species here. We're coming from somewhere.
I know.
So, what can you see the questions too, Kim, or is it just?
Oh, let me see. Oh, do you have human children? And if yes, is your love for the hybrid children just as equal? Well, I tell you, I don't have human children, and I don't have them because I was being abducted and they were taking my children. And I always had this fear if I had children on Earth that they would be taken from me. And the love that I have for April and Paul is as strong as any love I've ever had for anybody. So and Qual looks almost 100% human. And a couple times I saw him. One time when he visited me in Sedona, he just appeared. Oh, it's a long story, but he was wearing like jeans and a shirt. He looked totally human in his dress. So he could definitely be. Uh-oh, I thought
We can still hear
what?
you. You lose
Okay,
the
We
picture?
can still hear you.
it says my battery's low, but I don't know why. Hold on.
It is cracking a little bit. It shouldn't be. It's plugged in, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
On
Oh,
my
your laptop battery. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Take a breather. It's okay. You okay now? You got it?
Yeah,
Is it charging?
it's plugged in. There's nothing else
Yeah,
I
it's
can
not
do.
cracking on part too. That's good.
Plugging in is fine.
Yeah, you're good.
Um,
Yeah.
got another question for you from the chat room. Have they ever asked you to come to Earth?
Ask
For
me to.
the children, have they ever asked to come to Earth?
Well, they have actually, right? Because you met one in Sedona.
Oh yeah, but they're grown. At that point, Qual was in his 20s, and he had his own fleet. Remember, that was his life, and without children, and
So I follow up with that question though. I guess that is a really good question in a lot of ways. Do you think that your children, April, we'll stick with April, would
mhm.
like to live on Earth, come to Earth, or do you think they're happier in the life they have now?
I told you she's smart.
Yeah, I know. But,
Why would she want to come to Earth?
well, we don't know. Does she ever tell you what it's like where she lives now? I mean, you've seen a
uh,
few pieces that you
yeah,
said.
yeah.
So,
She tells me she's what's a doctor for kids? P, P,
Pediatrician?
oh, PD.
pediatrician.
So she has a
Yeah.
job.
Oh yeah, she's got a career. She's very happy in her life, and I
So
think
your understanding then it's almost like a parallel life of ours, but just with more intelligent individuals in it.
I wouldn't I wouldn't go that far.
Well, she's a doctor.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of doctors.
Yeah,
I mean, that makes sense. That's what they would have needed more than anything with the hybridization
sure.
program, because so many of the kids are sick and deformed and don't make it, and that would be logical, you know.
So it's
to do.
similar to what how we live then. It's similar to a degree. I mean,
Yeah.
they're very human. They're hybrid.
Yes.
They eat lunch. They have meals. They have
Yep.
jobs. They're just at a higher level of
Yeah.
intelligence.
Yes. Yeah. I
They
guess
wear
it's
jeans,
what's that?
and they wear jeans, so they can
And
theoretically move
they can wear
around among us.
jeans.
They could be among
Yeah.
us, and we may not know.
I'm absolutely sure they're here. The hybrids that look like us, the ones that can get away with being here. I've ran into at least four that I know of. So when you've had that much experience with another species or hybrids or whatever, your telepathy is really, runs high. So, I meet people, and I'll have an automatic telepathic connection. And many times, if I was physically in their presence, and they were the younger hybrids that are here now, I would know it and they would know it immediately. So it was like, you can't fool me. And they'd always be working in places that had, you didn't have to be very educated. And I thought about it for so long, and I thought, well, you know what? They can't be going around to colleges. They don't have any history, they can't get degrees like we can. They just, the ones that I met were doing minimal jobs. Like one worked at a Burger King, the other one worked at a Kinko's, and I knew immediately. They knew immediately, and I was with my friend Daryl, Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar, and we were leaving a restaurant on the beach in Malibu, and it had one of those little. You went down the road, and there was a little booth and somebody was in there to take your ticket, your parking ticket. This is back in those days. And I looked at this kid and he looked at me and it was like, "Zzz. I know who you are and I know who you are." And I was driving and Daryl grabbed my knee and he went, "You know who that is?" I said, "Yeah, I've got a pretty good idea." So, just a ton of those little experiences just really reinforce that I know they're here.
Okay, I do have a question for you from the chat room. How
Yeah,
can we tell a hybrid as a layperson?
that's a tough question. I
I
don't,
think that once you've had an experience and once you're part of it, something opens up and you can just sense it and tell something resonates with you. Um,
yeah, he said
that's
layperson.
I'm s- I'm sorry. How can I let? Yeah, I don't know if they could.
I don't know either. I think that a
I guess
lot
it
of
really
it,
depends on how human it was, right?
true. Yeah. Yeah, you've
Do you
got to have a
find that
little,
your hybrid children run smaller in size, or do they
no.
full grown 6 feet? That kind of thing.
Um,
Blue eyes, Nordic, a little bit looking, or do you think the O negative blood group plays a part in this? Do you think that there's any part, anything that?
I don't know anything about the O negative. I've
No?
never had I don't even know what my blood is. Um, what was your question? I'm sorry.
Um, would a
How
person,
would they know?
yeah,
Yeah.
how would they know?
The original.
The hybrid or ET, my guess is they would, if they wanted you to know, they'd tell you. You know,
Right.
but unless you had some kind of agenda with them, I don't think you'd really know.
Yeah.
Unidentified as for.
Yeah, I'm just putting up his link. I said I would advertise his site. So
Huh.
everybody check out Unidentified S4. It's got a good UFO channel. Check it out.
And back to Kim.
And back to
Hey,
Kim.
so
So is it?
It's
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It says people are everything UFO says. People are presented these hybrid children. You just know
that's what
when you're.
telepathy is. That it's a knowing. You know, it's information, but not through spoken words in your coming out of your mouth or their mouths. It's just an instant knowing. And I've had that. So there's different levels to that kind of telepathy. In my first book, I had an experience that was with an ET, and it was just like, boom. I just, in their presence, I knew everything. He knew everything. He, it, she. And it was nothing linear about the conversation. It was just bam. Both knew exactly everything the other person knew. Call them persons.
If memory serves, I believe at one point you saw what looked like babies in jars. Was that you that you talked about that once, or that looked like there was a child? They were all in like glass or canisters or something.
Canisters.
Oh yeah, I had that experience, but a lot of people have that experience. Just like in my book, The Art of Close Encounters, is it Chuck Chroma? Chuck Chroma is a contactee and has a lot of hybrid children, and he was taken, into this craft and walked. The hall was round, and there were all these little containers, and a larger ET was guiding him down this hallway. And when he got to a certain point, he pointed to one of these containers and it lit up. And this taller gray, told Chuck, "This is your son, and you should be very proud." And he said he will do something wonderful. And that's in my book. And I've seen so many
Did
babies and
you ever
fetuses.
experience anything like that when you were aboard? I guess is the good word for it, or
When
did
I
anyone
was what?
when you were aboard the craft or wherever it was,
Oh,
and I don't really know how to word that because it's happened so many times. I'm not quite sure you're always at the same place. You're always in the same craft. You met the same extraterrestrials. Were you remember being one place one time and another type of
oh yeah. I very few times was at the same place. But what I did know is sometimes they were human facilities, uh, and then there were craft, and then there were motherships. So, but you know the difference in a one place they took me a lot that I really didn't like. It was like an old elementary school. It was man-made. You know, it was like brick and mortar. It wasn't sleek and round like the ET crafts are when you're taken. So I knew that this was, and that happened a lot with the military. So when the military were working with the hybrids or the ETs, you knew you were in a military facility, underground facility.
right?
You know,
That's what we were part of. Did you find it to be a little more harsh when there was military involved? Do you remember a different type of feeling, a different type of attitude, or maybe one was a little, one incident was more barbaric or harsh, whereas another one was seemed softer or more
they were
caring?
they were all barbaric. You
Yeah,
know, I've always told people that the ETs have an agenda, and it's real important to them. They're not just abducting us for torture, you
no,
know, but
to preserve.
but
Wait,
the
wait,
the military does. I mean,
right.
they torture you. They don't, they've got their job to do too, but they don't care about the abductees. So they can be really, really rough.
Did you hear any noises, any sounds?
Where, when, how?
At the
Inside the vehicles
Yeah,
or
we
craft.
heard a tapping sound. Someone said, was it like an MRI machine? And it was to a degree, but it was a higher pitched tapping. That heard that. And,
Mm,
we remember, almost in 1969, the case we're kind of known for, there was a lot of military involved in that. We know we were underground because where we were was like much bigger than what we saw. And there were these round spheres. One rose up from the left. It was white. One was orange, opposite, left and right, both
yep.
sides reversed there. And yeah, it was. We were in between three objects, and we felt funny. We could sense it. It was like we were deep underwater, and then all of a sudden there was this explosion of light, and crickets all came back to life, and then there was a real feeling like it was dead quiet. I mean, it was a lot you know to make sense of. When
Yeah.
something happens. But then again, we were never really hurt. We were part of something like you were,
Yeah.
and it's hard
Oh,
to make sense of. But at the same time, I didn't come away thinking that the off-world aspect of it was to hurt, but we also experienced what I believe to be a government presence, which was much different, which was very orchestrated, very hard, very
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah. They really want to keep this whole thing a secret. I can't believe, what is it, 40 years now? 30,
Yeah.
40 years I've been talking about this, and it's still not known. It's crazy. If you would have told me 30 years ago that 30 years in the future, you're still going to be trying to answer people's questions about this phenomenon, I would have thought there's no way. I thought for sure in 10 years, disclosure would have been, all over the place. But it's
well,
still not.
it seems like they really don't want to talk about the abduction experience. In
No.
fact, I'm starting a new website online called the Experiencers Database, and it's under construction right at this moment. And when
Yeah.
it comes up, we're going to have experiencers representing themselves on the site. We're going to have them as resources. We're also going to have resources like support groups and counseling and things of that nature if people want it. We're going to have open discussion groups. We're going to have videos. We're going to have everything you can think of to get the message out that alien abductions are occurring. They're occurring globally, and they need to be assessed as a international a phenomenal encounter. It needs to be brought up as a legitimate fact. The problem is, outside of John Mack and Bud Hopkins, nothing's really happened since then. It's pretty much gone moot. And the only time you hear about it is on channels like mine or Tom's or other people out there that are discussing it, like S4. He does discuss alien abduction. So
Yeah,
we are
truly,
trying
truly
to
needed.
address it. We are
Well,
trying to address it with that website, and we hope you join, Kim.
okay. I mean, I've been everywhere this subject can take you, and I'm sure I'll still try. I'm not going to give up trying. I've sacrificed too much to give up now, and you know, I'm probably, the pandemic really shut me down like everybody else, and I'm thinking, this is like the first show I've done in 3 years, maybe, yeah, I guess. And then when I started thinking about bringing all this stuff up again, I got a little scared, and because there's been so little progress, I'm thinking, do I really want to throw myself back into it again, full force, and wait another 30 or 40 years to hear anything that supports this? I don't know. I've done all I can do so far. Nervous to speak about.
A lot of people are saying they've had their own experience. S4 said he had one when he was 13. Dragon's Guardian Crystal Heart says nervous to speak about it.
Yeah.
But there are a few people out there that would like to talk about it. But Dragon's Crystal Heart says don't want to remember.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes,
So,
so there are
yeah.
people that don't want to remember, but we're going to offer people a platform where if they want to talk about it anonymously just by using an anonymous name or their first name, no last names, and we will offer a platform where they can meet other people who have also been abducted and contact them and talk to them, maybe find some support.
Yeah. I don't know if there are any groups out there anymore, but when I first was realizing what was happening to me, Yvonne Smith, Yvonne Smith, I had four out of all my hundreds of abductions. They were all pretty much conscious, but there was a couple of things that were too intense for my mind to remember, and that was actually I did four hypnotic regressions with Yvonne Smith. And back then, she had a group, a big group in LA of contactees, get together.
Zero.
Yeah,
Zero.
it's called
Ciro.
Zero.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ciro. But I think that's long gone.
Nope.
And no,
She
Ciro's
still
around.
has it. Yeah, she had her 30-year anniversary this year.
Oh,
So yeah, and we interviewed her. So yeah.
that made a huge, huge difference in my life. When we sat down to talk the first time, it was in a coffee shop in Pasadena. And she said, and actually, my friend Daryl found out about her and introduced me. And we were having this conversation at this coffee shop. And she said, so what brings you here? And I said, well, I just had a couple things happen that no matter what, I can't remember them. And other than that, I pretty much have chronicalized most of my experiences. And she said, you know what, Kim? She goes, I'm so glad you're not coming here like so many people who just want to make it up. They want to believe that they're special and, they've been abducted. And I'm like, well, there's it's not special, and if they only knew. And she goes, what I like about this is you've got, most of your experiences documented. So if anybody out there is having experiences, put them in a diary, because you forget and they want you to forget and you forget. But yeah, I just, being a Virgo, and, I just wrote everything down. And, but she said, what I like about this is you're not trying to dredge up anything. It's fresh, and she goes, but what you're going to find out is once we do a few sessions, your whole life is going to look different. You're going to look back at experiences that have made no sense your whole life, and the pieces are going to start falling together. And I said, oh, okay, but that was so true, because when she'd help me find a little piece over here, it was just like pulling a thread, opening a door to a whole nother aspect of my life that, they were true experiences. And yeah, so
I just
I
got
think,
a question to my cell phone. Um, and it's kind of it's a good question. When you have those bonding moments with April, let's focus on April.
hmm
Uh, does she share her life with you? Does she say, you're a Virgo. Am I a Virgo also? Do
yeah,
I do they share the more human element with you, or is it a
yeah.
standoff type of? Is there a distance or this real warm kinship? Like I can't, I love you, mom, and all this, and
Yeah.
you
That's
know,
all, that's all there. I mean, like I said, they say that the hybrids aren't emotional, and that's just absolutely not true. Um, I've, like I said, experienced more emotion from her than anybody on earth. So it's they want to communicate, but they understand that they can't come here. They can't live here. Even if they wanted to, they're just this far off the scale of being human. And I don't even know that they would want to because they
how
can't.
far away from Earth are they? Do you feel that they're close by, wherever they are?
Well,
Yeah.
what do you mean close by? They're in
Well,
another dimension. I mean, how close
yeah,
is that other dimension?
necessarily. Not all are dimensional, right? I mean, what I experienced
Uh,
wasn't, I believe, dimensional. So I think maybe there's different.
really?
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna. I wouldn't say
You
our incident was nuts and bolts. I mean, it was very.
and it wasn't military.
No, there was a military aspect to it. There
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
I
So I'm
think
saying,
when
but in your instance, though, your offspring, your children,
yeah.
do they share with you, or is there a
Yes, yes, yes. Let me tell you, the last time I saw my son
Mhm.
in Sedona,
Okay.
I had a big house that was a huge open room,
Mhm.
and sliding glass doors. I could see through the valley, and I was cooking and at my kitchen, which is open to my living room and open to my dining room, and I got this very strange feeling, and it was like, go outside. And I threw everything down and I opened the sliding glass door, and there was this huge, beautiful craft over my patio. And I was like, oh, and I'm a photographer, right? And so I'm looking around going, but I don't leave my cameras out on the kitchen table. They're all taken apart and put into the cushion and put into the closet, and the closet locked. So I was just astonished. I didn't know what to do. I said, I've got to get a picture of this, but I can't. I know by the time I get back, it's going to be gone. So I was scanning around trying to figure out who it was. It felt friendly. It looked like the bottom of an iron that you iron your clothes with all these bubbles of light. It was absolutely beautiful. And then something happened. I might have this mixed up. I don't know which happened first. I looked up and I had a wrought iron fence around my patio, and I look up to the sky, and here's this reptilian alien falling out of the sky arms and legs and tail just whipping around. And I thought, it was headed right to that wrought iron fence. And I said, I know this alien is going to hit that fence, because he was horizontal. And I thought, he's going to hit my fence and he's going to break in half. That's how close it all was. And then the moment he was about to hit the fence, he disappeared. Boom, vanished. And I thought, well, I've heard of that. That's, they get in a lot of trouble and their buddies are there to help them, back into their dimension or whatever it is. So I went back into my living room, and I'm just like, oh my God, because I hadn't had an experience with a reptilian. I've had, like I said, 7 other species, but never a reptilian, and I was so glad about that. So I look over at my sofa, and here is my son, Qual, sitting on the sofa, and I'm talking physical, right? This isn't multidimensional. This is like, I went over and and he was staring at my TV, and he was like somewhere else in his consciousness. And I was thinking, I went over and I just sat down beside him, very quietly, and I put my hand on his knee just to make sure I wasn't dreaming, and he wouldn't look at me. And so I just sit there and I just waited. And then, I don't know, a few minutes later, he came back around and he looked at me, and I knew that he had been trying to keep that reptilian away. That's why he wasn't conscious. He was doing some kind of mental stuff to keep those reptilians away so that we could visit. And then, so we sat there for a while, and I, patted his leg, and he said, do you, of course, this is all telepathic, but he said, Mom, I could tell he thought I was unhappy, and he asked me about that telepathically, and I said, I've already done everything in the world a person can do. I've been to other planets. I'm not unhappy. I just don't really know what to do next. And he said, Mom, do you know that every moment of every day around every corner is a new way to be of service? Your work has just begun. And then it went on a little bit after that, but it was just such a heartfelt thing for a 20-year-old hybrid to say. I mean, how advanced, right? Every
Right.
moment around every corner is a new opportunity to be of service. And I went, well, I'll take that message with me. So yeah, they express everything to me.
That's why I'm starting the website, because we want UFO Man Channel to be of service
Yeah.
to abductees and other people as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully the platform will go off without a hitch, and we'll be able to get people to contact each other and get answers or resources. That's what we want to do.
Kind of what my
So
park is like in a way too, right? It's a spot for people
Yeah.
to come together and
His
share.
park. That's
Yeah.
another thing. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Oh, my park is pretty much the same thing. It's just the UFO park that I have. Is just a spot for like-minded people to meet and talk and meet other people that might find it a little more difficult to open up. They're those who go there are like an extended family, I guess.
So this is your website?
No, my park.
A literal park?
Yeah, I have a park in my name. Yeah, UFO park.
I'm sorry, I'm not aware of that. Oh, it's on your hat.
Yeah, but it's been there since 2015. It was given to me in a lot of ways by the state of Massachusetts. Yeah.
Okay, maybe
Yeah.
I do know about it. So, how do people even know? How do they get there?
Oh, to the new website?
No, to the park, and then
To the
yeah,
park.
we'll get around to the next one.
Oh, it's been on the cover of the Boston Globe. I mean, pretty much everybody knows about it. I mean, it's they shoot TV, Ancient Aliens films there, Discovery Channel, Travel Channel. It's there's a tribute to my family. It's sponsored by the family of BB King, and uh, uh,
Is there a monument
yeah,
in
yeah. No, you're getting yeah.
now I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same place. Yeah, and so, but that's was an extension of our family's diner back in the day. This,
Yeah.
let's come together, let's talk, there's no judgment here. It's judgment free. And
Yeah.
what Tim wants to do with his group, and it's needed because outside of a few agencies, there's really nowhere to you can report an incident. And of course, Zero, which we touched on, was a good group. Running. I used to
Yeah.
meet with them. I think it was a Denny's up in outside of LA.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Pasadena.
yeah, way back when. And
Yeah.
but there is a need for that. There's a need for people where they can go and talk to someone like yourself who's been more open and more public,
Right.
and
Right.
has been able to talk to a lot of different people and understand that there's a lot of change. Not everything's the same. What
See,
your
we're
experience
we're
might be
gonna
than what I experienced, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah.
we're gonna try to get people like Tom Reed, the legend, involved as well. Along with, I'm reaching out to Yvonne Smith. I'm also reaching out to people like Whitley Strieber and um, my friend Terry Lovelace, because he's trained as a regressive hypnotherapist now for dealing with PTSD involving
Yep.
alien abductions. So, and he is currently doing that. So, I would like to bring on some experts so that people have their choice. Not just one or two. We're going to have several people. We're going to try to get as many as possible, so that people can reach them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many experts out there but
So-called experts.
yeah, that's not their forte,
They've
you
never had
know?
experience, but they're experts. Right?
That could be it. When I first started being abducted, I had it's in my book, an experience of this being. I don't know if I can actually call it an ET. All these extra dimensional beings, like, all kind of overlap. They're not. Who knows if it's like extra dimensional or extraterrestrial or just living inside the earth. There's a lot of stuff going on, and so you live and learn. But when I first was being abducted, I was taken by this being, and I was strapped to a chair, and that being was behind me, and I only got a glimpse of it, and I was like strapped to a wooden chair. Now this is as alien as it gets. The being said to me, just kind of like my hybrid son, you need to get a hypnosis certificate, you know, and I was like, okay, and what else? And it got really close to me, and it said, "Do you realize how many people you could help?" And I was like, "No," because I was still new into it, and so I did. I got certified, but then life took me in a completely different direction, and it's like, so there are probably a lot of people like me who have had these experiences and might be certified, but you have to take whatever path is right in front of you.
Right.
And I think I did it for, I don't know, maybe I helped like 6 people, but I just realized it was a lot of work to be a hypnotist in this field, because you're dealing with something so tender, and I think one of my duties was the first few years that I was abducted, and I knew what was going on, and could explain it to people who were thinking they'd been abducted, it was like everywhere I went, if I was asked to go out to dinner or go out to an event, it turned out that I would be sitting next to somebody who was just realizing that they were being taken. And I knew it. I got to the point where it was like, oh, I'm going to work tonight. Somebody calls and says, you want to go to dinner? That was, I'm going to work. Somebody sitting beside me is going to need me. And that went on for for years and
When
years.
you were when you had your visitations, if you will, how long do you think on average you were gone?
Well, I was usually taken in the middle of the night, usually about 3 o'clock,
About
and
two
then
thirty.
brought, and then brought back when the sun came up, right before the sun came up.
Did
When
you
I
ever
was,
feel tired, like when you go to work the next day? Could you, was that a, did that
I was
trigger
always,
anything? Could you tell?
yeah, I was always worn out. Are you
You
kidding?
could tell? Yeah,
Yeah,
and you didn't
that
really
was
know
tough.
why. You remember you have fragmented memories, and right
What, what's
with that.
that?
So in the morning you're kind of tired, and you know something's up, and then you start having these fragmented thoughts or memories from what took place, but you can't
Yeah,
put it all together. But
that's
once it
right.
happens a few times, you kind of know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have a couple questions for you, Kim, before I forget. One is when you were on board these vehicles, did you smell anything? Did you have any odors that you remember?
Oh, yes. They're stinky. Those grays are smelly. When I was, I think it was part of that clip when I was in that elevator and I was paralyzed and they pushed me through. I write about in my book they smelled like rotting vegetables, rotting some kind of rotting food. Uh, yeah,
Yeah. So I said hello. So I
uh,
have a question for you too about that.
yeah.
I've heard that from a few people. I didn't smell anything like that, but I got a question. If they're so high, they're so high tech and advanced, why do you think they smell?
uh, they're organic. It's what are
Well,
they eating or
your
how is their body processing just the
your daughter looks
physicality?
like you. She eats the normal food, right, and that kind of thing. So
I don't
your
know what
daughter
she
doesn't
ate,
have that, correct?
and
So hybrids don't smell.
no, she didn't smell. My son didn't smell when I was sitting right next to him. So it's a gray thing, I
Grays. The
guess.
grays themselves, you think is very different. So in other words, the hybrid process then doesn't involve grays then, because your children would have an odor, possibly. Just a,
Uh, I don't know. Those grays were always there, and I'm sure they're part of it. Just to what
just curious,
extent?
right?
Yeah, I I don't know of any other species that I could say was always there. It was always the grays.
Well, I can say this.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Everything UFOs in the chat is saying, I smelled a burning sour smell.
Burning
Yeah, sour
sour.
smell.
That's interesting. I don't know. I can't even imagine what that would smell like. But
Makes you wonder, is it just one particular type of gray? Because there's different, from what what I understand and speak to people, that there are more than one race of gray, or that kind of thing. So maybe there are some that have a peculiar odor, and some that don't.
I
Hey,
I would,
Kim,
yeah,
didn't you say that the beings that you originally saw weren't gray? They were white,
they were off white.
like
Yeah,
this?
Wow.
yeah, not
Deep
gray.
trouble.
Like almost manila. So
I made this for you to represent your six kids in front and your six grandchildren behind.
get out of here.
No, I'm not kidding.
Oh my God. That
That's
is
my
beautiful.
that's my fan art for you.
Oh my goodness. That's just beautiful. That's all I can say.
Thank you.
Gosh. So
You
is
ever
that,
think of doing a tabletop?
huh? What's that?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Now,
Have you ever thought about doing a tabletop book
Doing a tabletop
where
book.
you had where you had all the images and what was that 2015 or something? Yeah, there you go. Where you
Yeah.
had those people submit drawings and things, and then they would be in this book. And wow, $59. Okay,
It's artwork, though.
all right,
Yeah, and
Tim.
it's not
I
you know,
got.
it's not available anymore, so that makes it, if you can find it, find it.
You have it with you?
Yeah, it's right here.
I mean, didn't you have a lot of people submit? Yeah, submit. There you go. Isn't there like how many images are in that?
It's 150 individual stories of close encounters, and it's I just put a request out to people back in the day. If you've had an encounter and you've got art to go with it, I'm compiling this book, and it took a long time, but there's some phenomenal artwork in it. I mean, it's just crazy wild stuff. And about 25% of the people couldn't do any art, so I ended up doing the art for them if I thought their story was, good enough to put in the book. So 150 people, 150 encounters.
Wow,
And
cool.
yeah, yeah.
We also have a picture of this, your contact cards.
Oh gosh. Oh, how
We gotta.
sweet. Oh, and yeah, it's my contact cards. I did those with Daryl Anka, and those were sweet little stories that go with every card. And then what? I don't even know where I have it right now. I'll send you guys a copy. But I've also created a tarot. This is tarot, not tarot. A ET Ouija board. It's
Cool.
very
Wow.
complicated, but very powerful. So it's got all the different ET groups and all the different, spaceships, and but I created one, and then life took me in another direction,
Right.
and I put it away, and I just brought one out the other night. I was invited to a little UFO event in the country out here. I was shocked to meet people in this part of the world that actually believe in this stuff, and they get together once a month. But the woman who ran it looked at it, and she got all excited. She started taking pictures of it. She goes, "Why can't I find one of these?" And I said, "Because I never got around to publishing them." But now that I see the excitement, now that somebody has seen it.
Yeah, I mean, we went online and we saw some really cool images, but we weren't 100% sure if they were yours or not, if they came from the book.
Oh,
But there was one or two that was like, I know that's from your book. I'd seen it before. Is
yeah.
that book open? Can you open it up and show everybody what's in there? Would that
Well,
or
I can give you. I don't
it's
know.
pretty bulky, pretty big, you know?
It
Yeah, there you
is
go.
okay. So this is the way you have to look at it, because, whoops, all
Yeah,
the art is on the right and all the stories are on the left. And can I do this or not?
I think you can. You can pull it off. Oh, there you go. Cool. Yeah, flip. Just there you go, right there.
I've
So
got to
that's
turn.
somebody's experience, correct? That wrote
Yeah, you know
you.
what? I'm going to pull this off,
Okay. Uh,
and I don't want to unplug anything. I'm kind of wired in here.
Right.
So,
fine.
let's see if I can show.
There you go. So that's one person's experience that you interviewed, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Those are
So,
all,
Wow, very cool.
yeah. And this, I think, was a 2015 or so when you did this, right?
I think it was
12, 13. I remember when you were putting it together. I remember Steve Bassett
12.
calling me and
Yeah,
saying,
I
"Hey,
think it was about.
doing a book. You should call her to see if you could put an image in there." But
Yeah,
I
this
never.
is the one I was talking about. The guy was taking down the curved
Yes, said
thing,
that's your.
and the babies were in the tubes, and the ET pointed and it lit up,
Yeah.
and he said, "This is your son."
Isn't that
So
Cool.
peculiar that you just happened to open that up,
that is peculiar.
right? Out of 150 stories?
Oh, that's Area 51. These are.
That's very
Yeah, that
interesting.
looks like the Travis Walton thing right there.
They look like
That
the
was.
Nordics.
Hmm. And so all these images were drawn by the experiencer themselves.
75% of them.
Okay.
Like I said, there were about 25 people that contacted me, and their stories were really good, but they couldn't do any art, so I did it for them.
Oh,
But
Very
yeah,
cool. We also have this.
right.
yeah, that was my beginning. That's where it all began, beyond my wildest dreams. So that one, can you see this?
You got to hold it up higher, Kim. Yeah, now we can see it.
Okay. This one is my diary. And this has all of my experiences for 8 years. And this is, that was my very first sighting. I had a sighting before I had an encounter. And this was over the Malibu. Oh goodness, this makes me scared looking at it. This is not the right one. But that was my first encounter. And that was a hybrid. That woman who had me in this little room, and first time I'm conscious and I'm crying, and I said, "What are you doing to me? Why are you doing this?" And I was bawling like a baby, and she stopped and said, "Shut up, be quiet. This will all be over with soon enough." Can you imagine that? But that was my little place that I lived in Malibu. And that is not the moon. That's the craft that showed up.
So it was like a
And
sphere.
yeah, I called it the
Right
moon
sphere.
over Malibu. And let's see if there's any other good ones in here. Oh my goodness. I can't. Oh, this was great. Um, this is the guy I hated the most.
Mhm.
He looks like a praying mantis.
That's exactly what it was. Tall and mean, and just,
Do
I can't believe how mean some of these guys got.
you
I
have a photo in there, or not a photo, but a depiction of April?
Yeah, similar.
So do you have any more
Somewhere.
questions from chat while she's looking for that? Anybody who has any questions for Kim? Or
Oh, here's my first impregnation. See the 4 grays around me? And
Yep.
I'm strapped to the table.
so they're inserting
Yes, they're
a
holding.
living
Yeah, they're holding
child
the.
in you already. Then
Right.
you carry it to term.
No, no. But I want to tell you
No.
something. Do you see the woman standing in the background?
Yes.
That
Hmm.
woman, when I was in the elevator when they first took me, it was, and I told you I smelled the beans. I knew that there was a woman standing next to me that was a makeup artist. I was just getting telepathic information for the first time. And I just knew she was a makeup artist. And then there was my old boyfriend was standing to my left, and he was a photographer. And photographers use makeup artists every day. So it made sense that there would be a woman doing makeup or a man doing makeup on every set, and I suspect that we were all being taken together off of a shoot, after we had closed up, and how did that happen? So, Yvonne Smith, here we go. I was at a MUFON meeting, and I was speaking at MUFON about my, encounter. And am I going over time here? You
No,
guys
you're
let me.
fine. No,
Oh,
you're
okay.
fine.
Okay. And so, I think that was my first speaking engagement at MUFON in Orange County. And I was there, and Yvonne was there, and she ran up to me and she had a woman with her. And she looked at me and she goes, when this is over, don't leave. She goes, I really need to talk to you. And she said, we'll be at the back of the room. You come and get us. And I said, okay, fine. And I was just, getting ready to go on. And when it was over and I started to walk to the back of the room, Yvonne stood up and this other woman stood up. They both kind of jumped out of their chairs, and this woman ran up to me, and Yvonne said, "I'm sorry, Kim, but oh, you didn't see it." Well, I'll just tell you. So she said, I want you to meet this woman. And the woman looked at me and she goes, I'm sorry, Kim, but I already know you. And then I was getting really creeped out, right? It's like, okay, how do you know me? And she said, the worst experience I've had was seeing them do what they did to you. She said, you were strapped to a table. They were putting this alien fetus into you, and they had me standing there over your shoulder with a red rose. I've always hated roses, and now I know why. So in the book, in the illustration, you can see the red rose. And so, all these years, I still don't know what it meant. I don't know if they think it's a sign of love, or, they were just trying to make me more comfortable having another woman in the room. But so I'm looking at her and I'm looking at Yvonne, and Yvonne said, I can't believe it. She goes, this woman came to me just right after you and I started working together and told me this story, the same story that you had told me under hypnosis, which is the reason I went to her. That was the thing that was too traumatic for me to bring, to my consciousness. And she said, that's a good question. So it was, oh, and I looked at her, I said, oh my God, you're a makeup artist. And she said, yeah. So, these little things started tying together just like Yvonne said they would. But so here's a woman. She was the woman who held the rose and who was in the elevator. And I mean,
You had a
small
question.
world.
You had a question before this too about where the mantis. Do you believe the mantis were the ones that were in charge?
In
Right?
charge.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. I believe they are the ones in charge. They
And
they,
is
they
there a
had
color rose you like, or do you not like roses at all now?
Moses.
No, roses
Oh,
Roses.
no, I don't like roses.
at all.
No.
Doesn't matter if it's red or
If
no.
it's red, I hate it.
Yeah, but okay.
Okay,
So for
we
some guys out there, do not get him a rose.
No, 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 no.
okay, we do have a question from Christian Morales. Just joined the chat. It seems like abductions were peaking in the 80s and 90s. I wonder if it's still going on as much.
I don't know. I'm not aware that it is. I mean, there was a lot going on when I was being taken. I met people everywhere, and I'd go to the you know Bodhi Tree bookstore in LA, and books were starting to pop up on the shelves, and but maybe it's just because I've been there and seen so much that it just doesn't affect me when I hear about it anymore. I'm sure people are still being taken, but it may have slowed down a bit.
When was the last time you were taken? You know?
Oh yeah, probably. Uh, I'd say it was in Sedona, so that was probably 6 or 8 years ago.
And did
But
you
what
see
happened with me, my
your
encounters.
see your children at that time? Was it like did anyone know that you were going to be leaving? They weren't going to see you again. Was there any type of goodbye,
Mm-mm,
mom? We'll see you. You know,
nope,
nothing.
just arbitrary.
But
Most of it was always arbitrary.
did you see April
hmm
the last time? So she didn't know either that you would not be back.
I don't know. I
So
probably
do
not.
you
She was
think they
about when.
keep? Do you think? I'm sorry. Do you think they keep information from them as well? So they'll let you interact, but nobody really knows if they're going to see you again or when.
I don't think they know. because a few times that I was taken to be with them, they were surprised.
They were.
They were taken aback. So I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, it was just arbitrary.
Um,
Even say that
Okay.
we
word.
we have a question from the chat room. Christian Morales says, "I wonder if, as an abductee, you trust the information that comes from these entities or aliens or whatever."
No, I don't. I'd give them about 80%, but I'll never really trust them, because look at what they did to me. How can you trust a being that would do something like that over and
Right.
over and over again? So I don't know.
I
I,
do
I don't.
have I do have one last personal question.
Sure.
Um, when was your last encounter with your hybrid children, or even with the aliens in charge? When was your last abduction?
Sedona.
Yeah, Sedona. That was like 6 years ago. That's when, like I told you, Qual came to visit me, and April was there, and like I say, I still get communications from him, but I haven't physically seen one of my kids since Sedona. And I know if I went back there today and spent a few days, they'd show up. It's like they can just maneuver around that reality in and
When you
out of.
see activity that involve abductions, if you will, there does seem to be certain areas where you'll find more activity than others. But there's also just in chat alone, we've got people from all over the country saying they had experiences too. So do you feel that when it comes to you, you have to be in a certain area? I guess where I'm going with this, do you think that certain areas are portals or spots that are more utilized for a certain group of visitors, if you will? So maybe what you experience in Sedona is a particular group that's connected to you, whereas a lot of these other people in the chat or those who have experiences, maybe they're experiencing a totally different a family of visitors, if you will. So for you to be back with April and so on, do you need to be where they come to visit, or do you
That's
think they can?
that's been my experience. I
Okay.
don't know if I have to, but that's been the way it's been so far. And when I had my UFO tour company in Sedona, I saw 100 craft a night, easy, with
Mhm.
people. So that was a
Because that was an
guarantee.
area that was part of you.
No, I just think that they're always there all the time. I just didn't have the technology. My night vision goggles were, some of them were like $15,000 each. And I had 6 pair, and I'd give them to my guest, and everybody was blown away. Something always happened. So that's one reason. We just don't have the technology. But like I said, my experiences with my kids happened there more than any place else. So it is a portal. And I met when I first. Do you know Tom Dongo?
I know his name.
Tom.
Yeah, I know who he
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, he's lived there his whole life, and he's had all kinds of experiences. And there's a Bigfoot that lives at Bradshaw Ranch, and her name is Big Girl. Now I don't know if she's still there because they've destroyed a lot of the ranch, and they're using it for something else because they don't want people in that portal. The military, they can see now, any average person can go out there and see a Bigfoot or a UFO or plasma beams and orbs and ultra dimensionals of every kind. And so that I know there's that kind of magic to places,
Yeah.
and but that's the only one that I've really had that
All
kind
right.
of
So this is
joy.
this is something I want to bounce off you, which is a thought that I've had for a long time, and I know we're running late. Okay.
Okay.
So when I go back to Massachusetts and I go back to where this took place, I still have feelings, things stir up, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And And for me or our family, that was the area where we experienced our our personal accounts. Yet
Yeah.
I think that there are portals, and I think that there are interdimensional beings, which you experienced,
Mm-hmm.
which have to use an interdimensional portal to come, which might be Sedona, which is why that, or California, where you
Yeah.
live.
Right.
Whereas maybe they can't come to wherever you live now. Let's say we're not going to say where that is.
Yeah.
Whereas there's others that might travel at the speed of light that can follow you anywhere because they're not really coming through that portal, which is going to place them somewhere. Maybe they're just able to, because a lot of people will tell you it doesn't matter where I've lived. I've had experiences in, New York or California or Houston and
Mm-hmm.
so forth, and that there are other people that experience certain things in a certain area only. It could be 10 years from now. It could have been yesterday, but that area, when they're in that area, they experience something. Where others, it doesn't matter where they live. So maybe there are some that experience a more advanced civilization that comes through, or like that tear in the sky, like Caroline Corey, is able to come through at certain times, but that places them at a certain spot. If that makes
Yeah.
sense, I'm not sure I'm
I know.
making.
I've heard it. I've heard everything.
Okay,
That's definitely the case. Whitley Strieber, he had all of his experiences at his cabin.
Yep.
Remember? I mean,
Upstate
that
New
was,
York. Yep.
yeah. So there, I've heard everything, all of the above, and I know for myself, I've been taken from 5 different states, and and like I said, wherever I move, they'd show up. So, and you're right. I don't think they'd show up here.
Also, Calvin Parker was taken while fishing,
Oh yeah,
and Travis Walton while logging. So it doesn't really matter
driving in the
where
station.
you are. They're going to find you if they want you.
yeah. Who are
Unless
those?
there are some that need a portal, maybe, and that brings them to a certain particular area where there might be something to that too, right? I mean,
Oh, sure. There's yeah, Whitley is a great man.
this is why we need a group like what Tim's putting together, right? So we can all
Sure.
be
Get
a little
together.
more with each other
Yes.
and know that we're all extended family in some respects.
And maybe even push disclosure farther, including the abduction phenomenon, which they're excluding at the congressional level. It
Oh,
needs it needs to be addressed.
that last hearing or first hearing, what a joke. It was
Oh yeah,
like,
we were hosed.
oh man. So, yeah.
We're supposed to have a new one on Halloween, so we'll have to see what they release on Halloween. On the 31st, the next UAP report's supposed to come out, or a new
Well,
UAP hearing. So
yeah,
we're gonna have to see how that goes,
the new evening of lies or misinformation or
or lack of
delete
information.
the lack
Yeah.
of information. I laughed through that whole thing. It's like, are they
So,
serious?
Kim, if people want to reach out to you, are you open to that, or do you respect your privacy now and want everyone else to do the same, or what do you? How
You
do you
know,
feel about that?
I've been going through a lot, physical stuff lately, so I'm kind of staying held back. Um, this is just because I've known you for so long, it sounded like fun. So if it's something that I can, help people, that's not going to take a year out of my life, I'd be willing to do or suggest something. So don't be afraid, but don't just arbitrarily come and knock on my door.
Well, should they?
Right.
Do they have an email maybe, or what
Yeah,
do you suggest?
it's my name at Yahoo.
Can you put that up, Tim, or so people can
Um,
see that? And by the way, can I get one of those books? The one, the
The
coffee
Art of
table,
Close Encounters.
the one with all the. I'd like to read what other people experience. That
This
yeah,
one.
I want
I
to get
think
one of
that's
those.
pretty
Yeah.
cool. I'd like to get a copy of that.
Um, So it's a long story, but my books were stolen from me, and I've got a few left,
Yeah.
and I'm only going to put them out there to you. You guys will have to share looking at it.
I don't get a book. I can't get a book.
No, it's going to be your book.
I'll have a book, but I have to share it.
Yeah.
It's okay. I don't need to see it. If
It's,
Tom
you
owns
know,
it, it's Tom's.
I don't think, yeah, the two stories too long for online.
Yeah.
I'll
No,
tell you what happened one day.
I'll pay you for it. I mean,
No, I'm not
like
looking
to
for the money.
sign it, say sure, and I'll send you a check, and it'd be under the tree on Christmas, and I'd be like, oh my God,
I personally would like to get a copy of your
he wants a book
diary
too.
book.
So do our listeners. How can they get a book? Come on.
It's not available now.
Okay.
Hear that, guys?
After disclosure. Now, that's not true. I'm lying. I think you can find a few on Amazon. You can't. This book is been out of print for so long. It's not available in a book, but I got it onto Kindle, so it works on Kindle. But I can't do that with this monster of a book. It's got too much data.
Heavy.
know,
It's
the-
a lot to mail. It's a lot to mail.
It's 3.5 pounds. Whoops.
Yeah, well, that's a heavy book. Look what it just did
Lost
now.
ya.
My God, just trying to hold that thing. Right? It's a hardcover too, so my God.
Yeah, it is.
Right. Well, hey, do you have a website where people could go and
I just let all that stuff go. Maybe it's time to, do I have any websites? I'm sure I
Thanks,
do.
Bill.
Huh?
No, Bill said thanks, Tim, and I'm like, well, I'm here too, and so is Tim.
He said hosting. I'm the host. You're the
Well, I'm
co-host.
hosting too. It's both of the show, right? So
Right. It's both our shows.
okay, it's all right. I'll get over it. Yeah. So anyway, Kim, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. All right. So there's no website for you, or I mean,
Um,
no website, but you did put up email for her, right? So people could.
I put it in the chat. Yep.
You did. Okay. All right.
Yep. It's there.
I had a website for the Art of Close Encounters. It's got a lot of the images in there, theartofcloseencounters.com. I don't know. Can you
Okay.
see if that's still there?
artofcloseencounters.com. Okay.
It might still be there. And then let's see. I don't know. Boy, pandemic, I just shut down.
All right.
So
Well, we got a contact from S4. He says, "What a fantastic guest."
Yeah.
oh, how sweet.
And you didn't want to come on. It took me how long to get you to come on this show?
Well, I just didn't feel like I was, in the loop anymore. And I thought, but, if I look back, I've got so many years of experiences that I knew that I wouldn't be tripping over too much. I mean, I knew I'd find
There
something
you go. Thank you, Lisa.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So I guess that's probably right. We're running out of time now, or
Okay.
How-
Well, I want to show a couple things before we
okay.
leave.
All right. Good. We got 10 minutes,
Okay.
maybe.
One thing that we have to show for Tom is recently he put up a billboard, a couple of them in Roswell for his UFO Expo, and here's a picture of it.
Wow. That's in
And-
Roswell?
Yes, March 10th through 12th, 2023. And I don't know how long the early bird sale is going on. I think till what?
December 1st.
December 1st, okay?
That's a
So
great
I've got,
sign.
yeah, we've got. I actually have an agreement now with the city, and my convention will be every March in Roswell. Now it's the only second convention they've really ever had, and so from here on
Conven-
out, it's going to be during spring break.
Convention is we're not talking because I've spoken at Roswell.
Yeah, me
So-
too,
so-
pretty much every year.
So, is that what you're talking about?
No,
Something
no,
like-
they I spoke with them and they offered to partner with me if I moved my convention to Roswell. So that's my convention.
Oh, okay.
Real inclusive. It's going to be a film fest. We're going to have we're going to be showing films from local producers, and actually James Fox will be showing his new film there as well. And
What a
Terrence,
trooper. I love that guy.
yeah, and so we got VIP parties. We're going to have themed tracks where we're going to be showing a film that somebody might have seen, and have everybody involved in that talk about maybe what was left on the cutting room floor and what it was like to film on Ancient Aliens and that kind of thing. And and then there's going to be a little
Hmm.
cosplay thing. There's going to be a tent where they're going to have a rock band. We're going to bring in a good band, and then we're going to have films being shown on the side of the building, outside in these mixer tents, and we're going to have the larger films inside. So it's really going to be about 4 to 5 conferences under one roof. So it's like an all-inclusive celebrity uh, hosted film fest, really.
There's
Jeez,
also going to be
you're so ambitious. Where are you guys getting all this energy?
Well,
there's also going to be
I've
a VIP mixer,
been
which
holding
is
conferences
nice.
since the '80s, but
Tom,
this one I
tell
got a
her,
lot of money in. This one's like $37,000 out of pocket. So
yeah,
this is the
Tom,
biggest one I've ever held. Yeah.
tell her about what happens at 9 o'clock when Roswell shuts down.
Oh yeah. So Roswell does shut down early because they can only sell alcohol for 12 hours a day, and so
What?
yeah, something like that. So it's going to be the inside. We're going to try to have that from like 11 to 11, and then we're farming out through a very good friend of mine, Elizabeth, who is going to be working with these uh, a company who has a liquor license that's going to come in and handle the outdoor mixer tents. And that'll be open to like 1 a.m. So it'll be like 1 to 1. So inside will be earlier, outside will be later. And so now we're going to be able to have, be able to order a cocktail at 1:15, when
Right.
usually everything shut down at 10 or so. So
And
I've had,
this is in
yeah,
March? You said this is
yeah,
March?
the March 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Yeah.
A lot of credit out, goes to Elizabeth Michael, who helped a great deal in making this happen. Without her, we wouldn't have it. And but we talked during the Fourth of July festival, and I was just moving it from Massachusetts to Florida, and she's like, we, would really like to do something else. Would you consider moving it here? Because the convention center, is filled all the time, right? But as she mentioned to me, they don't need another gun show. What Roswell needs is something different that will complement their festival. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of how this whole thing came about. Let's do a film fest. Let's do something different.
Oh,
Um,
that's nice.
so this is going to be an annual event. So maybe you'll zoom in. Maybe we can get the chat behind you to say, "Yeah, Kim, do it," and so we can get you to maybe
Roswell is one of the hardest places to get to.
for
It
you
is yeah, man.
one
Qu-
small little airport. The rooms are always booked because it's not really a
mm,
big town. So
no,
Mark's going to be
I
able
drove there.
you
Big,
drove
I drove there from
from Arizona.
Al-
From Arizona. That's not too
Albuquerque.
bad. Oh, from Albuquerque. Oh, wow.
Mm,
Did
yeah.
you live in Albuquerque?
Did I what?
Did you once live in Albuquerque, or you flew into Albuquerque
I flew in.
and then drove in from Albuquerque? Yeah,
Yeah.
3-hour drive.
Yeah,
Well,
it seemed
yeah.
like a long drive.
Well, if you want to
Barren
zoom in,
desert.
there's room for you if you want to zoom into the event.
But if I have friends waiting for me there, it won't be such a long drive. When I drove in, it was like, where am I going now? First time to
Yeah.
Roswell. What am I doing this for?
So do you want to zoom in? You want to zoom in and say hello
Who?
into my
You.
event in March?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll zoom in.
See what you're doing to me?
I
You're
know.
getting me back involved in this again. Oh, I thought it was
Maybe you
over.
should be. Don't you have weren't you told that you've got
Have
a
a
lot to
mission.
offer, right? Yeah.
You have
So
a
Got
mission.
no, got a lot of work left to do.
there you
Yeah, it's
That's
your
what I
mission.
was told. When an alien tells you that, you kind of take it seriously, but I wasn't expecting a pandemic, and no one was. And why didn't they warn us about that? I wonder if they
Kind of
knew.
wonder.
Yeah.
Anyways, any last thoughts, Tom?
No, I just want to thank you for coming on. I know you had been, kind of private for a while, and
Yeah,
kind of cool seeing you in Colorado. That kind of
that was
rekindled my friendship.
fun.
And,
Yeah, that was great.
and You
It was the
know,
closest thing to a conference I'd been to. I guess it was a conference.
you left kind of
Yeah.
early. I didn't see you after. I saw you. Think it was Saturday, maybe Sunday, or then you. I didn't see you after that.
No, I was there every day, but I was helping my friend out with the table. So,
Oh, okay, okay,
yeah,
all right.
and that was fun. That was a great feeling. And you know, they didn't have any t-shirts my size. So I got nothing
What
to
size
bring.
are you?
Itty bitty petite.
Oh, small. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they all they had were
Extra
men's
large.
extra large, and so I didn't get a souvenir, and it was so nice to be there and see everybody, and but
Yeah. Yeah, I saw
nothing.
you over there talking to Mark D'Antonio. I'm like, son of a gun, that's Kim. You know?
y- Yep,
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's so cool.
Any
Well,
last thoughts, Kim?
no, just you got
no,
you guys are doing
pretty much
great
it.
work, and it looks like I'm getting pulled in a little bit,
Well,
and
we want to thank you very, very much for coming on our
thank
channel, and
thank you.
I want you to keep in touch because I find you to be a very intriguing and interesting person.
Oh, I
And
bet you say that to all the hybrids.
no, to all the very pretty women.
Oh,
So,
you're so
anyways,
sweet.
thank you very much for being on the channel. And from Tom and myself and Kim, we'd like to say good night to everyone and have a great rest of your
Halloween.
weekend. Also, have a happy Halloween and a safe one.
Drink slow, drive slow. Good night.
Yep. Good night, everyone.
Good night. So are we gone?